Welcome everyone, I'm Bill Holkham and today we're painting a beautiful wet in wet sunset using just 3 colours and 4 brushes. This is a super easy watercolor tutorial, perfect for beginners. Here is a list of the materials I used in today's demonstration. I'll guide you step by step, sharing simple techniques to create dramatic sunset skies that will really add that extra wow factor to your future landscape paintings. Grab your supplies, relax, and let's bring this sunset to life. I start using my number 12 brush with clear water, laying that down in the whole of the sky area, also coming down into the distant hillside mountain range. Come down to that pencil line where it will be meeting the water, and add just a little bit of that light yellow, then your Winsor blue at the top. And now you notice this paper is 140-pound Arches cold press, so you'll notice it reacts differently compared to my usual use of the 300-pound rough paper. But I thought it's important to give this demonstration using this different paper, but still Arches, so you can compare, see the differences. The absorption will be slower, as you're witnessing, no doubt, if you've followed some of my other tutorials. So I've laid the blue, I've laid the red, or the Alizarin Crimson colour, and now I've got the combination of the Alizarin Crimson and the Winsor blue, still using my number 12 at this stage. And every now and then, be careful about what's developing at the sides where the tape is. It's taped down on all 4 sides, as really is necessary for the 140-pound. Otherwise, it will curl too much for you. As always, mop up those sides occasionally, as you see me doing. And also with a clean dry brush, you can do some mopping up that way. Where the mountain range hillside meets the water, I'm going to have a misty effect. So I'm going to make sure that that is left quite clear in that area, as you'll see as we progress. Now I've gone to a flat brush because, as usual with flat brush, you can get a much better shape for your clouds, and especially those distant clouds get closer to the horizon, they need to be much thinner. And with your flat brush, this is a half size, you can achieve that. Now, when laying down these darker clouds, do remember, don't cover up all that nice red area that you've created. Let that shine through in between the various dark clouds. And you can dry your brush with some tissue occasionally. If you've got too much fluid, then put a little bit more on, like I've been doing. And then dry that off with a hairdryer, and it, as always, dries much lighter. Then we can do a little bit of lifting around the sun with a very clean tissue, clean water. Use your number 6 brush, something like that. You can run some clear water across the edge of the sun where the pencil line is, in case you've got a little bit of pigment that's come over, and then lift that with your tissue. Then, still using my number 6, I've got clear water at that pencil line where the distant hillside mountains will reach the water. Then go into the top of that range with just Winsor blue to start with. Lay that on along the ridge all the way across. And then you can just gently fuse that in to where we laid down the water before. Remembering again that we don't want to come all the way down with that blue, because we want a misty effect where that range meets the water. So I'm preserving that. Then whilst it's still wet, go right into your very dark mixture and go across the top of the range. Lay that pigment down, let it fuse in to the other pigments that are still wet. And just let that come down. You see me clean the brush of pigment, but the brush is still slightly wet, and I'm just gently fusing, coming down to the pencil line, leaving it light in that area. Then dry that off with the hairdryer. Then using your flat brush still, you can lay down water up to the pencil line and down to the bottom, and make sure you leave white of the paper where we have the reflection on the water for the sun. Once again, the English style of painting transparent watercolors, where we use the white of the paper for our whites. Just keep going with that, and then you can start dipping into your colors. You can do a little bit of yellow. Not much of that yellow will show through, as you'll see at the end. It's quite weak, but never mind. You could do some of that, or you could make it stronger. And then lay in your Alizarin Crimson, leaving again that white light area near the base of the hillside mountain range, so that we have, in the end, a nice misty fill. And as you lay this color down, you can start coming across in a jagged way here and there, where you've left the white of the paper on the water for the sun reflection, so that it's a more interesting shape. And you'll see we will develop that even more so when we go into the darker mixtures. So now, still using my flat brush, gone into the cobalt blue, but you'll see me coming across here and there into the white area on the water, just a little bit, nice interesting shapes. And make sure you leave plenty of that red that you laid down there earlier, the Scarlet Lake, in between these dark areas. That's what is going to make this painting. The juxtaposition of the lights and the darks, the colors, compared to light color, dark color, etc., just as we did in the cloud formations. So lay those down, leave that area near the bank, and jagged areas here and there. And now a little bit more strengthening up with our deepest color, our Winsor Blue and Alizarin Crimson, making sure I leave plenty of those nice colorful areas, leaving gaps. Once again, the flat brush is perfect for this. Much harder to achieve using a round brush, even if the point of the round brush is very good. See me using the tissue again here and there, just to take off excess fluid. You need to maintain control. If you have too much fluid, whether it's water, pigment on the brush, you are likely to lose control. Then I've mixed up a brown mixture. You do your blue and your red, an approximation of a brown, and then I'm purposefully coming across the paper, coming from the bottom to the top, coming over the distant range a little bit for added interest and to marry things together. And they're the stems or stalks that are being laid in first, of grasses and so forth. And then we go into green mixture, our Winsor Yellow and Winsor Blue. If necessary, a little bit of the red to darken it. And then we're doing grasses with the smallest brush, our number 2 brush. And we're just shaping those up nicely, give them character, give lots of gaps in them. Don't make them one clump, make them interesting. And in reality and nature, of course, they've been battered and bashed by the wind and the storms and so forth, so they would have lost here and there some of the foliage. And that is going to give you a nice prop on the right hand side of the painting, and then on the left hand side of the painting, sorry, and then for the right hand side of the painting we can add a few birds in the sky. I like an odd number. 3 or 5 is a good number to include. And there we are, a finished sunset. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you again. If you enjoyed this tutorial, give my other beginner videos a try by clicking this thumbnail.